We're Bash Bros Movies, and this is our first official podcast. We've been planning on doing this for a while. We weren't certain what way we were gonna do this, but this is gonna be the official Bash Brothers Movies Star Trek podcast. It's basically gonna serve as our diary into binge watching Star Trek series, movies, etc., and will also serve as a discussion.
Well, technically, your second binge.
Well, dude, I mean, it'll depending on which series you're talking about, which movies you're talking about, it could very well be third or fourth. But listen, we've been watching Star Trek since we were kids. We don't necessarily consider ourselves Trekkers or Trekkies or whatever. We don't think we're the biggest fans out there. We may not know the entire lore of the series, but there's a lot of people out there who want to get into this or don't want to get into this, and this is gonna be for people like that who want to get a certain sense of what Star Trek is all about without having to watch them, because our plan is this is gonna be spoiler heavy, not just today but in general. We're gonna start with basically with Star Trek Discovery, wherever it is right now. It's episode 10, and we're gonna start with that today.
Just because it's the current one.
And not just that, you'll see as we start this discussion about this week's episode that it's actually a perfect starting point for anybody who wants to get into Star Trek, to start getting into Star Trek, and it's a perfect starting off point for a Star Trek podcast too. So just because there's so many Star Trek themes that actually fit inside this episode that I think that's what makes it the perfect starting point, and more on that later on. But listen, so this is our diary, so to speak. It's also gonna serve as a review channel, it's not a channel, but it's like an extra piece of content that we're gonna use to just talk about this piece of cinema, television that we actually love. So we're still figuring out the name. I think it's gonna be Captain's Chair or the Holodeck.
Had a perfect one, but somebody had it.
Well, we figured out a perfect name, but somebody already took it, even though they only have 9 episodes here on YouTube. Listen, I just so much planning and coming up with stuff, coming up with an actual shtick because of the name. It was just whatever, man. You know what? We'll live through it. We'll survive, and we will move on. Speaking of moving on, listen. To all the newcomers or regular viewers who are watching this, we started watching Star Trek when we were kids. Every Sunday afternoon it was there.
We grew up on Voyager, so live with it.
Yeah, Star Trek Voyager. We're not going to talk about it much today because it doesn't tie all that much into today's episodes. Listen, Star Trek Discovery, ever since it began and ever since we started watching it, dude, it had me hooked. I mean, from the very first episode. And
it actually had me hooked when they announced Jason Isaac was gonna be captain. I was like,
yeah,
alright.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I know you two are good friends and all, but listen, okay, it's like, that's not the reason we're doing this.
Oh, so. No, definitely. But when they started announcing, first when they said, okay, we're gonna do another Star Trek, it was like, okay, where they're going with this, how they're gonna do it.
Yeah, especially because of all the new J.J. Abrams movies, we were wondering whether this is gonna be set in that universe as well. And because
then we got parts of the plot line, then they started casting characters, that was like, alright, this is interesting.
Yeah.
I like where they're going with this. But then episode 1, and you have no idea what to expect, and it just hits you, it's like...
The only thing I knew about it is they spent a whole lot of money on cinematography, and they were shooting it in IMAX.
It shows.
And
you can see
they showed the first 2 episodes in USA on IMAX, and dude, I wish I could have seen that in IMAX, man. Like...
Me too.
Wow, the cinematography of the series just continues from the first episode on to, even to this last episode. The effects were amazing, to say the least.
Visually, it's stunning.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I like to see all the Star be shot like this because it just visually just
I think the closest we got. I mean, back in 90s with the Next Generation, I think that was like the first step, so to speak, and then with Star Trek Enterprise in early 2000s, I think that was the logical like first step, so to speak, because when it comes to Star Trek, they've been doing it for years now, for 50 years. I think it celebrated 50 years last year, and that's why Beyond Star Trek Beyond coming out last year was sort of a
monumentous occasion.
Yeah, definitely, and them releasing Discovery was also a momentous occasion because they wanted to release it in 2017 they wanted to release it in May, but due to some background behind the scenes stuff they couldn't, and they released it in November, but it was still 2017, so it's like this is, you know, having a series set 10 years before the original series with Kirk and Spock and Dr. McCoy and Scotty. I think also because of what technology is today, I think it's, I'm not gonna say difficult, but it's definitely not easy, okay? Like having all this technology today and wanting to put something that's in that era of 23rd century that was done in the 60s and then in the 70s and even into the early 80s with the first movies, I think it's just difficult for people. Like it can be, and we've seen from the audience response too, is not everybody responded in the same, like with same enthusiasm, with enthusiasm at all. So I think two of us, I think we're a rarity, even though there's a lot of other people who love Discovery. So far I can say, like, listen, I watched 10 episodes and each episode had some, I don't know, things that I didn't like necessarily, but I don't think that makes show bad, which is basically what you and I are about in the first place when it comes to movies. Anybody who's been watching us, talking to us for years, or like they know, listen,
just because few bad steps are in the movie doesn't make the whole thing bad. Same thing goes for Discovery. And I actually binged the first 9 episodes. And the worst thing about it was actually there were only 9 episodes to binge. Because this, I really, you know...
Yeah.
I flew through them, and the thing that really stuck out to me the most was the story. Because the story is something it's something that we want to concentrate on today. But the story was the part where I really did... I knew who they cast as the actors. I knew what the name of the ship was, but I never looked into the story. And you know, I hate that stuff. Like, I'm not gonna read what certain thing is about. I'm not gonna find out what the movie is about before I watch it. I do the same thing for the TV shows. I'm not gonna watch the trailer. I'm not gonna read the plot line. That way, when I start watching, I can be surprised.
No, but you know the general synopsis. And to me, I think because we didn't read, we thought this was gonna be set between Kirk and Picard, but it's not. So it's set 10 years before Kirk. And listen, to all those who, I don't know, you're new to Star Trek, you've been watching the movies, you're kind of confused with the plot lines. I think today's episode number 10, I forgot what it's called, but it basically it starts with this is mid-season finale was last year. And this is continuing the season, and so they left us on the left on a cliffhanger, like a huge cliffhanger, and because to
explain the cliffhanger, basically,
that's my.
We can't just drop it on you. No, they went to a mirror universe.
Exactly. Listen,
they did, but it's how they got there that really sticks out.
We thought that they were gonna travel, like the general synopsis of the series was they were gonna go into the Gamma Quadrant, like this part of space that's been unexplored so far or whatever.
I would know, but if you say
anyways, listen. Well, I mean, up to the Discovery, so to speak, and so I'm still very confused as to whether they're gonna go there or not. Because I haven't read the entire synopsis, I don't know where they're gonna go. So when they left, basically the series starts with the main character Michael Burnham, who's actually a woman, pretty much starting a war with Klingons who didn't have.
That's my gripe with this one.
I think we can get to it eventually later on or in the next episode. Let's just focus on this.
I'm just making it
I want to put this into perspective
know.
For us, for anybody watching, just so we have it on tape, you know, because...
She gets blamed. For starting the war.
Klingon. Pretty much, I mean, there's a whole controversy around it, but still, listen. Klingons is this warrior fighting race that humans haven't had contact with in a long, long time. So, according to the show, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I
I just figured, yeah. Everybody knew who Klingons were.
Well, not everybody knows. I mean, I'm sure people heard about Klingons, but not everybody knows what Klingons. Maybe they have a general idea what they look like. And more about that later on. I mean, there's a whole... I know people, whatever. So basically this is set before Kirk. And if you're watching the movies and you want to get into this show because of the movies, these shows aren't necessarily tied to the movies. The movies are their own separate universe. There's a prime universe that's basically all the shows. So it's like Kirk, Picard, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and then it's Star Trek Enterprise series with Scott Bakula, and which basically...
Captain Archer.
Yeah, Captain Archer, who's actually the first Star Trek captain chronologically, actually. So if you want to start binging Star Trek, that's where you should start.
The Enterprise from 2004 is your starting point.
Yeah, 2001, 2002 to 2005, I think, aired on TV. You can find it pretty much anywhere, I guess.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, dude, that's...
So everything Star Trek is related is on Netflix.
Pretty much. And I'm getting my Star Trek fix these days, man, and it's, I don't know, that's one of the reasons I'm excited about this podcast. But basically, the three movies, Star Trek, Into Darkness, and then Beyond. I was gonna say Beyond the Darkness, man.
Almost there.
Almost there, yeah. They're their own separate universe, even though they're tied to the original Star Trek series in a way, but one event separates them from the Prime timeline, so to speak, and it's called Prime Universe in the official canon, whatever. And the Kirk, Picard, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, they're the Prime Universe. They are our timeline, okay? That is where Earth is going, okay? That is where we are going, or at least we hope we're going at some point in time or another. And that's...
You're still hoping.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you watch Star Trek, that's kind of what you're hoping, that's where we go, you know, as a species. But, and so today's episode basically finds the crew of Discovery stranded in space, in universe, and I thought they were gonna be, because of the events, the way they happened, I thought they were gonna be stranded in Gamma Quadrant, very much like Voyager got stranded in Delta Quadrant years later. But it didn't. Once they started speaking about we're in the same place we were at before, I was like, okay, we're in a parallel universe, and I hope to God we're not in the mirror universe, because mirror universe is this Star Trek invented parallel universe that's parallel to ours, and everything is basically mirror image of as it is, and that's why it's one of the reasons why it's called mirror universe. But once the episode started rolling, I was like, okay, we're in the mirror universe. And
basically, didn't they just strand you there? They explain you the concept through the previous couple of episodes. They kind of explain,
how
okay, there are multiple universes out there. There isn't just this is ours, this is the Prime universe, as you said.
Yeah.
But it's not the only one. And they use the...
And through
the episodes they explain you the existence of the said universes and the fact that you can travel from one to the other.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why when they get stranded, they actually figure out pretty soon where they are.
Yeah,
and how to adapt to the situation.
And to those who've been watching Star Trek for years, or who at least watched Star Trek once and maybe saw the famous Captain Kirk episode where a teleporter accident actually gets him stranded into the mirror universe, and he switches places with his opposite because they use the teleporter at the same time, and because of the accident Kirk gets stranded in the mirror universe, and he quickly figures out that he's not on the same Enterprise that he was going to go at, while the other Kirk, actually Spock, I mean, because the dude's acting the way he usually acts, he gets put in jail and he's pretty much put aside for the entirety of the episode. Like, he doesn't cause any trouble, you know, he's in the brig, okay? They get encountered. Spock is a smart guy, so...
This is the thing about mirror universes. If you travel from one to the other, your counterpart comes from the other to yours.
Usually that's how it happens.
So,
usually, but that's not always the case, as we'll discuss later on, because in Deep Space...
But it might have happened with Discovery.
Yeah, it definitely did.
At least that's what the going theory is.
That's the going theory.
Which makes the whole episode, what's coming next, even more exciting.
Yeah, because the episode didn't finish. It left on another cliffhanger, and it's basically a two-parter at least.
Basically, the mirror universes, the Earth did unite, but they kind of went Nazi on everybody else.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it starts. Later on, it changes a lot, and it changes drastically. And you can watch that in the Deep Space Nine episodes. There's at least 3, maybe 4 episodes in Deep Space Nine series with Mirror Universe, and things are not the same. So you can
see the Mirror Universe isn't novelty.
Well, it is novelty to the crew because nobody ever went there before.
Because technically this is the first time it happened.
Kirk hasn't happened yet, okay? Like
Chronologically
speaking, Kirk hasn't happened yet. His accident did not happen yet, and so this is the first time we're actually going to the Mirror Universe. Even though technically so far Kirk's encounter was the first. And if you want to watch that, I forgot the name of the episode. Just look up Mirror Universe.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, but it's like if you want to look up just the episodes, just look up Mirror Universe Star Trek episode list or whatever, and it should be there definitely because there is a list.
Google.
Yeah, and there is a list definitely about everything about Star Trek because I've been doing a lot of research, so to speak, and background data for this podcast, future podcasts, whatever. Even though like my research isn't all that big, like. Anybody in the show does better research than I do anyway, so it's like, you know, we're just doing this for fun, so...
We do everything for fun.
Yeah, so why bother with something...
We'll do anything once.
Yeah. Well, not everything, but... I mean, you maybe, but not me, man. There's just some things that I will not do because I'm not gonna do that, so whatever.
At least think about it.
I will think about the concept and I'll say that's fascinating, that's logical, or that's crazy. I just might do it, but I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy, man, okay?
I am.
I know, I grew up with you. If anyone knows, I know. But, yeah, so they get stranded in the mirror unit. They quickly figure out that they're in a parallel universe. They quickly figure out, okay, we need to find out what the hell is going on here.
Who the hell we are here. And how do we look here.
And how do we behave here, because for all we know, we may end up dying. And luckily for them, they are pretty much in the same situation that they left in. So there's the Klingon ship right in front of them in pieces, right? If I remember correctly.
Well, there's a larger debris.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean...
Basically, they figure out...
if we want to know anything, we need to get data that we need from this ship while we can, and ASAP. Because if we don't do it now, we don't know whether we're even going to be able to do it at all. And luckily for them, they find the data core, they connect it to their...
damage one, and they figure out what the hell's happening.
Yeah, at least a little bit. Partially, yeah.
Turns out the Earth did unite, but instead of starting the Federation of Planets, they kind of started the Empire.
Yeah, the Terran Empire.
Basically, they go, like I said, they go Nazi on everybody, and Klingons, the Vulcans, everybody else, they basically started a rebellion against Earth.
Well, not rebellion, because it's not more like a resistance, so to speak. Because
resistance.
Yeah.
Just because the Earth.
They're all living in the same universe. So
the Terrans basically come, kill, and leave.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then they brag about killing while they kill some more.
Yeah, it's a game to them, and to me, I don't know, man. It just. I'm gonna say ironic because, like,
I wouldn't say ironic, but
no, but the more you watch any of the series, like even later on with Voyager, you see like they always find this type of species that just hunts for fun, so to speak. They hunt other races, they kill other races, and to actually think that humans could be like that is unimaginable in 23rd and even 24th century of the Prime Universe.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
so
something
when
that
they
happened before.
yeah.
Before they
Yeah.
united. Before they become,
The eugenics wars and whatnot. And so to come to the universe of 23rd and 24th century and to discover that our counterparts in this parallel dimension are nothing like us, but they pretty much are doing everything that we try to avoid, is just preposterous in a way,
and
ironic,
they're doing it on a much
and-
bigger scale. than-
yeah. And to think that
anything
part
else.
of you, it's almost, especially when Kirk realizes his counterpart behaves this way, it's kind of like watching, and even here, when you realize that part of the main character, Tilly, one of the main characters here, when she discovers that her counterpart here is this evil Nazi bitch, is just, it's like part
Who
of
became
you.
a captain by killing her captain in sleep, or
Yeah.
he, she, whatever, it was sleeping.
Yeah, it just, it's like part of you dies too with it. Once you realize that.
Well, what I
Basically-
really wanted to see was how our characters were gonna adapt to living in the universe.
Well, they quickly adapted
Like,
to
how
the
do you-
situation.
I really,
So-
oh yeah, definitely. But I think that he's gonna leave some kind of a mark on it.
Oh, always
He has
does.
to be. Oh yeah, always.
With every encounter with Mirror Universe usually does. There's some, and I mean, I can't talk about it because it hasn't happened yet, chronologically wise. But it did happen because when Kirk went to the Mirror Universe for the first time, basically, Terrans weren't this bad. I'd say, like, they were a little. I mean, they still accepted Vulcans into their culture because Spock was the emperor of the Terran universe when Kirk got there. And so I don't think we're gonna see, and the mystery here of this episode was always who's the emperor in this timeline. I don't think it's gonna be Spock, because I don't think Leonard Nimoy got to shoot it before he passed away. But they may get they may get the guy who plays Spock in the movies now, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, I think
don't
that's a long shot. I know,
Because
who
he
might
had-
be the original captain from the Shinzo.
Michelle Yeoh, dude, I wouldn't be surprised.
She might be the emperor.
I wouldn't be surprised because it's so in TV shows. It's always they rotate the same characters, the same actors over and over again, and
Because
so
maybe she doesn't die in the original, in
Probably.
the Prime universe. She dies here. She just might be the emperor.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
That was my thought when I was watching.
Because
She
I
might be
have
the
no
emperor.
theories on who might be the emperor, but because I was more.
That's my only one. Like, she might be, she might not be, but
We'll see.
I'm good either way.
We'll see next week, I guess. And
or the
I
week
hope.
after that.
Well, I think this is
Because
going to
it
be a
just
two-part.
depends, really. I just hope, depending on what they do with it, because their plan was simple. Let's grab the data and try to get the hell out as fast as we can. Because at the same time, the Terran
Because
universe
going
discovery is in their universe.
Yeah,
It's in
but
their
going
prime
back is not going to be easy, as we've seen, because the guy who's responsible for even transporting them here is out of it. Like, he's in a coma, pretty much. I
Yeah.
mean, he's
It's
barely
an
functioning.
extremely catatonic state.
Yeah, extremely. And that brings us, I would guess, to... And our characters adapt pretty much quickly once they realize from the partial data that they can gather, because, let's face it, the Resistance doesn't have all the data that they need because they're the Resistance, they're not the Terran Empire. So all their data is, I'm guessing, based on what they were able to scrounge up from fighting other Terran ships, and that's battle they're usually losing anyway, so just...
They got limited data.
Yeah, so they quickly adapted to the situation, and they changed the uniforms, they even changed the inscription on the ship to
ISS.
display from USS Enterprise to display ISS. I have still no idea what I in SS means, but whatever. And listen, because it means united in the Prime Universe, so I have no idea what this means.
Glorious.
I doubt it, man. I doubt it. But yeah, I'm sure it could also mean interstellar. Who knows?
Glorious is better.
Inglorious is well,
I mean, we all know.
I doubt that they're
We
that
all know
much
Tarantino wants to do a Star Trek movie.
Well,
He's probably
apparently
gonna do.
I think he's doing it. So,
They might give him an nod with the eye.
but I
here.
think he's only gonna write it. I don't think he's gonna direct it.
I think he's directing. They brought in a couple of guys to write it.
I haven't been keeping up on the news about the movie. Just
Yeah, he
because
was
it's
too
all
busy binging Star Treks on Netflix.
I just think it's a lot of it is still speculation anyway. So it's like once they release the official news, I think we'll all know. If they
Well,
release,
he won't be on Netflix.
well, I know, but still, listen. Maybe they released the official information. I just been too lazy to go ahead and look for it. You know.
Yeah, too busy binging.
Well, you know.
Star
When you
Trek
get all the
content.
time, when you have all the time in the world and all the Star Trek in the world to binge,
Or
I
to
mean,
be young and unemployed.
hey man, dude, I still miss. I'm still missing work, man. Okay, I mean, part of me at least.
You live in your bed.
Dude, listen.
So back to the
not all of us have access to the holodeck. Okay, this is my laptop is my holodeck. Okay. Oh man. And just the concept of holodeck hasn't been invented yet, at least in the series, and I don't think we'll see holodeck as we actually know it in the 24th century. I think they're gonna leave that for the 24th century.
I don't think holodeck's gonna play any part in this series.
Not original series, but the Star Trek Enterprise actually.
With Captain Archer.
With Captain Archer, they got a first concept of what holodeck is going to become eventually, with that room that actually displays realistic environments as images basically, and that was a good. I like that episode, man. That's a great Star Trek episode, man. Tucker meeting with alien, becoming first guy to become pregnant on Earth. So first Earth man to become pregnant. I mean, the concept
teaches you to keep your hands to yourself.
That too, yeah. But back to the Mirror Universe and the Star Trek Discovery. Listen, there's a thing that happens in the middle of this episode that I'm like, can't believe it, dude. I literally, there was a camera on my face.
You almost got out of your bed,
dude. I almost jumped. The shock on my face resembled just about any Catherine Janeway shocked faces that you can find online. Okay, it's just about it's like that was.
Okay, so what happened? What shocked you?
The kill, man. That neck.
I was excited because I didn't like the Doctor.
Well,
I was like, yes.
I mean, yeah, but still, I didn't
saw it coming.
I didn't.
When they started,
listen,
especially with the engineer being like, the enemy's among us, the enemy's among us.
Yeah, but
like,
they were in this mirror universe. They're in this unknown situation. The last thing we need is that kind of a complication. Okay, because.
But it makes things more fun.
No, definitely. I'm not saying No, I'm just saying I was shocked that it actually happened because I didn't expect it to happen. Like they genuinely shocked me and twisted.
I saw it coming just before it happened. I was like, no, and I was like, this is where he killed him, and then you just next snap. I was like, yes.
It's not that I didn't expect it from that character because we knew he was gonna go there. Because this whole time I was thinking he may be a double agent, but he's not just a double agent. He's
a Klingon in a human's body.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not that he has a double personality, but just that the torture that Klingons did on him, they were actually able to imprint another personality atop his own. And so
he was a Klingon. They shortened his bones, make him look like a human, and then they printed a human personality on top of the Klingon one.
No, he was the human the whole time. They just made his body more Klingon-like, I guess. I mean,
I thought he was a Klingon, and they experimented on him because
the
Doctor.
You think that's what happened? Because I don't think that's what happened, man.
When the Doctor explained to him, he said the
human actually exists.
The experiments that they did on him, and then even his interaction with the Klingon prisoner.
Yeah.
And she clearly stated the prayer was supposed to bring you back. He's clearly a Klingon.
I think he was always a human. It's just that they basically did the plastic surgery on him so they can fit his Klingon personality inside his human body better.
The human personality came on top of the Klingon one.
Is that what you think happened?
Yeah.
Because I clearly watched the episode in the wrong way, but it's like
they imprinted the human personality on top of the Klingon one, and that's why they couldn't find the Klingon personality on top of the human one.
I'm gonna have
because it was underneath, not on top. And
well, when you want to hide something, you put it underneath.
Yeah. But they were looking for stuff on top of his human personality. Was there something that was changed? But they were looking at the wrong way. And then the doctor, before he snaps his neck, he basically tells them that there were certain surgeries that were happened. They happened on him where they shortened his bones and they changed his bone structure.
Yeah.
To me, that clearly stated he was a Klingon and they made him look human.
I think.
And then they imprinted the human personality on top of that.
I don't think that's how it happened.
The human might be the thing, but he's Klingon.
No, definitely. I'm not, dude. But I think he wasn't always Klingon. I think he was always human, and they just changed his human body to fit his Klingon personality in it. So that
I think he was a Klingon, and they hid the human on top of him, basically.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode again, but I don't think that's how it happened, dude.
I hope it is, because it just makes the whole thing a lot more fun.
And it's gonna be lousy because we're not gonna be able to put it into podcast this week. So
yeah.
Maybe we'll talk. We'll definitely touch on it next week. But listen, overall, Star Trek Discovery. This episode is definitely one of the best so far. And speaking of story, this is. I'm not gonna say it's the first show because they did it on Star Trek Enterprise. This is probably the second time they're actually doing a TV show as whole season one wholesome story. Very much like Game of Thrones is, very much like any of the other big budget, long lasting shows are done these days. I think, I mean, they kind of started doing it with Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and then with Star Trek Enterprise. You definitely got a kind of a whole story throughout the 4 seasons that show was on, and you got glimpses of an entire story because Voyager was basically lost and they were supposed to get home, and you see their voyage back home.
But you see the whole voyage.
Oh, definitely.
For 7 years.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff happened along the way, and we're going to talk about all that and much more in the future. And listen, we didn't say this in the beginning. We planned on doing these podcasts once a week while Discovery is going on, and after that we're probably going to do it on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, depending on how much you binge. Because I'm gonna be binging more or less like
I said, to be young and unemployed.
Yeah, well, you're only 2 years younger than me, dude. Come on.
But you are the unemployed one who lives in his bed.
Okay, let's not go
binging
there.
Netflix. That's all I'm saying.
Whatever, man. So if you're not a Star Trek fan, you like Us for Us, and maybe you like Star Trek, but like what our interaction, our opinions, and you want to hear more, is like, as far as Star Trek goes, it's gonna go once a week, every week until...
That's the plan, basically. We're gonna watch... The plan is to watch the...
Star Trek Discovery
and then shoot an episode.
And because we want to review, so to speak, we want to talk about all the Star Trek ever made.
And then we're gonna try to tie it into the stuff that happened before with the other ones.
Yeah, that's...
Like he said, he kind of has a leg up on that one.
Yeah.
Just because he already recently binged the whole...
Yeah, because we've binged earlier this year, last year. We binged Voyager again, and it was a fun trip,
and then you
man.
proceeded to binge the Enterprise, the Next Generation, and now you're binging, or even you finished the original series,
I finished
plus
the
all the documentaries.
Well, not all of them, but...
Most of them. I don't know, did you do the movies as well? Not yet, right.
I
recently rewatched the Generations.
I watched the Next Generation movies either 2 years ago, I think, and I watched Wrath of Khan during the summer. I watched the Star Trek motion picture not last night, but a few days ago, and I'm actually gonna watch those movies again. So I mean, we're gonna...
So the thing is, we're kind of winging this.
Yeah, definitely.
This is the first one we're doing, and we're just gonna try to figure out how to keep them going. As long as the Discovery is on, we're gonna be doing it once a week.
Yeah, and we're also gonna put these on in audio format, and
Exactly.
which will you'll find a link to the audio channel, to the podcast channel in the description of this video, because we still need to find. I'm still figuring out which server to use, but it's definitely going to be an audio version for everybody who uses audio to watch podcasts.
Oh yeah.
And we may do a thing for our other discussions, not movie reviews, but the discussions that we have on certain topics. I may turn them off. I may convert them to audio and put them there as well. But listen, this is the first episode, inaugural episode of the Holodeck, or the Captain's Chair,
or whatever we decide to call it.
Because I mean, we're definitely Riker maneuvering this, okay?
Yeah, because it was supposed to be Riker Maneuver. But there's a YouTube channel called The Riker Maneuver.
No, that's not the name of the channel. That's the name of just the name of their podcast. I don't know what the name of the channel is, but they have 9 episodes. They have a leg on us.
And there's
as
no
Riker
stick.
Maneuver goes, I mean, having a leg up on one, and whatever, man.
And not to have a stick to go with the name is just. It's unprofessional. That's all I'm saying. Unprofessional.
Because we were gonna do the shtick too, so. Yeah.
And for all of you who don't know what Riker Maneuver is, YouTube it.
Yeah, just YouTube Riker Maneuver.
Look for Commander Riker maneuvering.
Definitely.
And now we planted thoughts in your head that you did not want there, and it's nothing so. It's clean. It's clean.
It's clean. It's clean.
The maneuver is clean. There's nothing inappropriate about it.
I mean, the only thing that you may call inappropriate is.
Now, if he wasn't wearing pants, he would be inappropriate.
Yeah, but it's like.
But as long as the pants stay on, I think it's alright.
Definitely, man, definitely. And I mean, Commander Riker had his way with women, okay? He knew many of women, so.
Biblically.
Let's just leave it at that, man, okay? But yeah, so this is the first inaugural, you called it?
Yeah, inaugural, man.
Episode of the Captain's Chair. I think I'm gonna go with Captain's Chair. It makes more sense, I guess.
We are maneuvering into the Captain's Chair.
Well, the Picard maneuver is famous too, so.
It is.
I don't think. Hopefully, this podcast.
For different reason than the Riker one.
Oh,
but
definitely. Although certain, like if you go look up Riker Maneuver, it's 2 things. So.
Yeah.
One of them is similar to Picard Maneuver, and it's not nearly as.
As fun and entertaining as the other one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, where was I? Inaugural, and yeah, it's definitely going to be the Captain's Chair, because the Captain's Chair is a big part of the series, and we wanted to keep this Star Trek themed, while at the same time keeping it known to just about anybody else who's not all that interested in Star Trek to know, listen, the Captain's Chair, this sounds like something a geek would make, and it sounds like something Star Trek-y, and I just might listen to that or watch that video, so.
Or Spaceball.
Okay, dude. You mean spitballing? Leave Spaceballs where it is, man, okay? Let's not bring Spaceballs into this, okay? This is much better than any Spaceballs out there, man. And Schwartz. Leave Schwartz.
The Orville.
Leave Schwartz where Schwartz is at, okay? Schwartz is Schwartz.
Because this is also a podcast, we're gonna try to do as much as... We're gonna try to make it as audio enjoyable as we do video enjoyable. There's gonna be certain banter we're gonna throw in there.
Hopefully the audio is good, because the only thing we're using is our camera, and on YouTube it seemed okay. So we're definitely, if you listen to this and quality is
and we still have to figure out how long this goes.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have a timeline, okay?
Like we said, we are winging it.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And it is inaugural, and you never know how those turn out. So. But we'll sit down at some point. He's gonna rewatch this or something, and then he's gonna figure out what we can do better. At the same time, if you're watching,
not that much, man. I mean,
well, yeah, not that much.
I mean, we have a budget, okay, which is basically.
Wait, we got a budget?
No, we don't, man.
Okay,
this ain't 24th.
For a moment there, I was like, wait, we have a budget?
Hey, man, this ain't 24th century, okay? I can't just go and replicate stuff or get them for free, because we're still using money, okay? The world hasn't come to that 24th century consciousness where they realize that money is pointless and we can better ourselves for ourselves and each other, and just forget the money altogether because we don't really need it. And
We're not there yet.
not there yet. Hopefully someday.
But we got
will
bitcoins. No, not us. We don't have any. Don't you have any?
Dude, I mean, we'd have better equipment here if I... Listen, if you want to donate us some money, just let us know, okay? So we can get better gear. I promise you that's what we'll use it on, but it's like, if you want to donate us like $10 for like a better... you can buy better
we're gonna stop here just because, you know, this was supposed to be a fun podcast, video, vlog, whatever you want to call it.
It's both.
Yeah.
It's both.
So like you said, we're bringing in, we're going to try to figure out what we can do different from this point on. We're probably not going to change much just because we do not care. But you know, hey,
I mean, we care,
it's a thought that counts.
We don't care. I mean, we care, but...
Not that much.
Well, we do, because we made this video, man.
Yeah.
But
like we said, we're not getting paid.
And I'm only prolonging this because I'm trying to come up with the Star Trek appropriate...
I have one.
outro.
I'm waiting for you to finish so I can use it, so we can finish this.
Dude, make it so, number one.
Remember, never argue with the captain of the Enterprise.